Common misconceptions about serial killers. Welcome back to Twisted Tales. Tonight, we're stepping into a subject that has fascinated and frightened people for decades. Serial killers. They've been the focus of books, documentaries, movies, and endless online debates. But how much of what we think we know is actually true? Hollywood has shaped our perception in powerful ways, and while those stories make for compelling entertainment, they don't always reflect reality. So tonight, we're slowing things down. We're separating fact from fiction. Here are the 10 most common misconceptions about serial killers and the truths behind them. Let's begin. Number 10. All serial killers are men. This is one of the most common assumptions. When most people imagine a serial killer, they picture a man. And statistically, it's true that most identified serial offenders are male, roughly 85 to 90%. But that doesn't mean women are never involved. Female serial killers do exist. They simply tend to operate differently, and because of that, they often receive less media attention. Unlike the dramatic portrayals we see in films, female offenders are less likely to seek notoriety or attention. Their motives more commonly involve financial gain, power, or personal benefit. Their methods also tend to draw less immediate suspicion. Because of this lower visibility, female offenders may go undetected for longer periods of time. The myth persists because the media often focuses on sensational male cases. But the reality, violence is not exclusive to one gender. Number 9. The United States has a serial killer epidemic. There's a belief that the U.S. is overrun with serial killers, that they're everywhere, lurking in every state. In truth, serial murder accounts for a very small percentage of overall homicides. Former FBI profiler John Douglas estimated that at any given time, there may be between 25 and 50 active serial offenders in the United States. Combined, they are responsible for roughly 1% of total annual homicides. That's not insignificant, but it's far from an epidemic. Interestingly, when adjusted for population size, less populated states sometimes show higher rates per capita than major metropolitan areas. In the 1980s, during a period of heightened fear, government estimates dramatically overstated the number of serial killings. Those inflated numbers stuck in the public imagination. But the data today paints a calmer picture. Serial murder exists, but it is far rarer than popular culture suggests. Number 8. All serial killers exhibit the homicidal triad. You may have heard of the so-called McDonald Triad. It suggests that 3 childhood behaviors, fire setting, animal cruelty, and persistent bedwetting, predict future violent behavior. It's a theory that's been repeated so often that many people accept it as fact. But the original research was based on a very small sample size and has since been widely criticized. Later, larger studies failed to find consistent evidence that these traits reliably predict violent crime. Many individuals who displayed one or more of these behaviors never committed serious offenses. And many serial offenders never showed those traits at all. The triad has become more of a storytelling device than a scientifically proven warning sign. Human behavior is complex. There is no simple checklist that predicts future violence. Number 7. Serial killers are obsessed with their mothers. Pop culture loves this trope. The troubled relationship with a domineering or abusive mother, the psychological explanation rooted in childhood trauma. And yes, there have been famous cases where family dynamics played a role, but psychological research shows no single parental relationship defines serial offenders. Many grew up in unstable homes, others did not. Some experienced abuse, others did not. There is no universal mother issue pattern shared by all serial killers. It's a narrative device that makes stories easier to understand, but real life rarely fits neatly into a single explanation. Number 6. Serial murder is an American phenomenon. Because the term serial killer was coined in the United States, and because American media dominates global entertainment, many assume this is primarily an American problem. But serial murder has existed across continents and throughout history. Cases have been documented in Europe, Russia, Australia, Asia, and beyond. Some countries report fewer cases, but that may reflect differences in reporting systems, law enforcement resources, or public transparency. The U.S. does have a high number of documented cases, especially in the 1970s and 1980s. But serial murder is not confined to one nation. It is a global issue, influenced by social, economic, and investigative factors. Number 5. All serial killers are driven by sexual motives. Media portrayals often suggest that serial murder is always sexually motivated. In reality, motives vary widely. Criminologists have identified multiple categories, including financial gain, power and control, anger, mission-driven beliefs, or delusional thinking. According to research databases, enjoyment or thrill accounts for about 1/3 of serial murders, and even within that category, sexual motivation is just one subtype. Some offenders act for financial reasons, others for a distorted sense of purpose, some for control. Reducing all serial killers to one psychological motive oversimplifies a far more complicated reality. Number 4. Serial killers always travel across state lines. Television often portrays serial killers as highly mobile, constantly crossing jurisdictions to evade law enforcement. While some have done this, most operate close to home. Criminal profiling research shows that many offenders commit crimes within a defined comfort zone, an area they know well. This often includes locations near their residence, workplace, or familiar routes. Cross-state offenders tend to fall into specific categories, such as individuals whose jobs involve travel, or those who live transient lifestyles. But the majority are not constantly on the move. Familiar territory provides comfort, control, and predictability, which many offenders prefer. Number 3. Serial killers want to get caught. This is a popular psychological theory that offenders secretly want to be stopped. In reality, most actively work to avoid capture. Some may grow overconfident over time, some may take greater risks, but that is typically due to escalating behavior, not a hidden desire to be arrested. Many offenders go to great lengths to conceal evidence and avoid detection. When they are caught, it is often because of investigative advances, forensic technology, or simple mistakes. The idea that they subconsciously want to be stopped is largely fictional. Number 2. Serial killers are either geniuses or insane. Hollywood loves extremes, the brilliant mastermind, or the completely detached madman. But real-world data tells a different story. Studies show the average IQ of serial offenders falls close to the general population average. They are not all criminal masterminds. At the same time, very few qualify as legally insane. Only a small percentage commit crimes due to psychotic hallucinations or severe mental illness. Many display personality disorders, particularly traits associated with psychopathy, but that does not automatically mean they are legally insane. They are often methodical, sometimes organized, sometimes impulsive, but rarely do they fit neatly into either extreme. Number 1. Serial killers are always white men in their late 20s. The stereotype is familiar: white male, late 20s or early 30s, and while many documented cases fit that description, the full picture is more diverse. Data from long-term research shows about 90% are male. The average age at first offense is around 27, but only about half of documented U.S. serial offenders are white. And in recent decades, that percentage has declined. Demographics shift over time. Crime patterns change with social conditions. The typical serial killer is not as uniform as television would have us believe. Serial killers have long been the subject of fear and fascination. But as we've seen tonight, much of what we believe is shaped by media storytelling rather than data. The truth is often less cinematic, but far more complex. Understanding the reality doesn't make these crimes any less tragic, but it does help us move beyond myth and toward informed awareness. Which misconception surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments. And if you found this breakdown insightful, be sure to like, subscribe, and follow Twisted Tales for more deep dives into the stories behind the headlines. Because sometimes, the truth is stranger than fiction. Until next time, stay curious and sleep well.